and said a few words on behalf of FFA was Mr. Kelly Cross, National Coach Education Manager.
Friendly ripple of applause from one side here. Well done. Thanks very much. Thank you. I'll get straight to the business part. There's some more things coming later. But from a positive point of view, looking out on those fields, in what is my 20th year of national championships and seeing a lot of talent come through, obviously, over the last 20 years. People who've sat in those seats who've now played in 2 World Cups since they played at Nationals. And that's pretty inspiring for the players. But from our point of view, so much talent and so much positive football for Australia to look forward to. I want everyone here, apart from the players, absolutely everyone else, to show their appreciation for the football the players have provided. So very quickly, we're going to name an all-star team. That's what you're all sitting there waiting for, I assume. So what do we look for? You know who it is looking for those things. A panel of people, 4 or 5 people who are hopefully qualified to do the job. A little bit subjective. I'm sure there's people here who will hear the names called out and know people whose names aren't on the list and will say, of course, he should be in. He should have been selected. That's open to conjecture, of course. We try and use a bit of process because unfortunately, or the difficult side of it is, picking talent is not a science. Selecting talented players cannot be done by a computer, cannot be done by a machine, cannot be done by statistics. A lot of it is in the eye of the coach, and therefore some subjective elements will be in there. But to guide us in that process, a lot of things we do look for. The 4 core skills of the players, regardless of what position you play. I'm talking mainly about the field players. Regardless of the position you play, there's 4 core skills we look for. First touch. Absolutely crucial. Is your first touch good enough? At the highest level, you must have a good first touch. Are you able to run with the ball comfortably? Sounds easy. Not as easy. Are you able to run with the ball effectively? Do you perhaps have some 1v1 skill? Are you able to change direction? Are you able to lose a defender? So at the top end of the game, that becomes crucial. And striking the ball. Can you pass? Ideally, both feet. Some people have got the nod over other good players. What might have tipped the balance was 2-footed, so looking good. Can you pass? Short, medium, long. Can you shoot? Can you cross? Those 4 things. So as well as those 4 individual capacities or qualities of a player, we're also looking now at, can you play football the right way? And from our point of view, there's certain things we like in our philosophy. Are you confident? Are you looking to keep possession? Are you attack focused? Are you playing the right way? Can you identify the positions you've all been put in? Across the board. The 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 and 8, the 10, the 7, 9, 11. Can you use those 4 key skills effectively in that position? That's been part of the process. And then, of course, you go through that process and you still end up with, in my book, 30 or 40 names of players who are looking pretty good. So then the crucial thing is we have to just say, this week, who were the 20 players? Just for this week. Not the coach telling us things before he came, or what we think the future might be, on this week's performance. So you did good things regularly, more than just once or twice. And it's great to see glimpses of talent in almost every player that's here. But to be an all-star more than once or twice, regularly, every game, under pressure, against good teams, when you're tired, when it's tight, those things kind of tip the balance too. So what does being selected as an all-star player mean? Well, it just means basically, at this point in time, I think for the players, in terms of your development, see it as a game. And the game's nowhere near over yet. But at this stage of the game, who's slightly in front? Who's got their nose in front at this stage of the game? If it was a boxing match, who's winning on points at the moment? And what does it mean if you're not selected? Well, that's up to you. If you're not selected, what happens next is entirely in your hands. If your name's not on this list. Because the game's not over yet. The door's not closed yet unless you close it. Unless you say, that's it, I'm finished. You go away from here, hopefully inspired. You've seen other talent, you've seen the benchmark, and you go and work hard enough to make it next time. Hopefully, those of us who've been around can see that football is changing in Australia. We're trying to make a fundamental transformation, not just a cosmetic change on the surface, a fundamental transformation. And we're seeing over the years, I know for many of you it might be your first time here, we're seeing year by year better players, better football. And also we're seeing encouraging signs of more attacking football, more possession-based football, playing football the right way. And I just want to mention something else. I'm going to mention some names of people for a special reason. What we're seeing much more of now that we never used to see, and certainly 20 years ago when I was first involved, hardly ever saw. Skillful, small players come into nationals. They never used to get picked. One thing we've got to change in Australian culture and Australian coaching is picking the big athletes, the big competitors. We're looking for small, skillful players. So we'll give a quick mention to just 6 names who didn't make the All-Stars, but it wouldn't surprise me if they would make the All-Stars next year. And here's the evidence of coaches selecting skillful players, smaller players. Victoria Metro number 2, Denny Koulas, bright future. So let me just read these 5 names out. And they're 5 of, perhaps more than 5, but the 5 that come easy to mind. Northern New South Wales Metro 11, Conor Metcalf, right there. Northern New South Wales Country number 8, Tom Miller, looking good. South Australia 15, Ali Huddy. I'm just talking about the 30s now, not the 14s. WA 13, Ryan Riley. Northern Territory 5, Sean Hodar. Players like that, that's a good sign for the future. But at this point, I'm just going to name 20 names for the 13s. And I think they come down and get their shirts. So when we call your name, please come down and get your shirts. And the goalkeepers who were selected by John Gauzer and Dean May, national team goalkeeping coaches. Number 1, from Victoria Metro, Brandon Oskinoff. Number 2, from Queensland Metro, Tuan Pham. Number 3, from New South Wales Metro, Ricardo Bernardino. Number 4, from Queensland Metro, Kai Rolls. Number 5, from New South Wales Metro, Zach Speth. Number 6, from Victoria Country, Sebastian Pasquale. Number 7, from Football West, Joel Rawlinson. Number 8, from Queensland Metro, Nick D'Agostino. Number 9, from New South Wales Metro, Devlin Malone. Number 10, from New South Wales Metro, Joe Galetti. Number 11, from New South Wales Metro, Jackson Bandiera. And 12 from South Australia, Zach Waters. 13 from Queensland Metro, Danny Kim. 14, New South Wales Country, Sam McElhatton. 15, Queensland Country, Nicholas Panetta. 16, a second goalkeeper from Northern New South Wales Country, Jez Murray. Number 17, from Victoria Metro, Dion Paula. 18, Queensland Metro, Thomas Ross. 19, from South Australia, Charlie Deverett. Finally, number 20, from South Australia, Liam Miller. And also for both teams, we select 2 coaches. Just very briefly, it's oh wait, Liam, right? Timing his runs to perfection. And the coaches, we can only, same as the players, we can only really base on what we see this week. We can't judge a coach on how he's prepared the team. Some coaches got long exposure, long preparation of the teams. Some coaches didn't have much time to prepare the players and worked really hard while they were here. We're only basing assessments of who the all-star coach and assistant coach is based on how they behaved, how they conducted themselves this week, how they affected the team, their manner on the sideline, their influence on the game, their relationship with the players, their respect for the officials. So based on that, and their half-time team talks, which I forgot to mention. So based on what we saw them do this week, we've named a head coach for the All-Star 13s from Victoria Metro, Ivan Jolik. And to ably assist him, Football West, Warren Grief.
Introducing the 14 years All Stars team will be Alistair Edwards, National Assistance Technical Director.
Okay, so just before we move on to the 14s, I think thanks Kelly for the explanation of the All-Star group and also for explaining the thing. And before we move on, once again, congratulations to the Under 13 All-Stars.